So as you know, I'm a singer in a band, and I started out with this band called Zircon Lounge back in 1983. It was it was only released on vinyl and cassettes at the time. And then I wrote, then there were two solo albums after that. Second one was very ambitious, called Pang Mang Hang. And then I wrote two books about Singapore. They're kind of like social, cultural commentaries. Then I did the first ever Singapore spoken word album, CD album. It's called Me, All Good, No Bad. And then I did 3 albums on my own that are kind of like more close to what I'm about and very indie. And that's the first. Second one's called No Ordinary Country, about Singapore. Of course, they're all about Singapore. And then, before this, actually, I recorded a... you took away the other one.
Which one?
The Singapore Umbrellas.
Everything has to be done through regulation. How to eat, when to have babies, how many to have, what kinds to have, when to screw. Even deregulation is a regulation.
A small country like Singapore has zero margin for error. We're always looking for somebody who can bring the team together.
I can see that my colleagues have their hearts in the right place.
Just remember, it is our divine leader who declared to the world, strong and powerful is the way to be, oppressive it may be, only we know. You think you know?
What is that one song that would describe Singapore as?
Ooh, I've written so many. I'll tell you what, I'll give you 2 choices, yeah? One that's more commercial sounding would be Mouthless Fish, the first track from the Zircon Gulf Pawn Stars album. I think that's a good indication of what Singapore is, that song. From the darker side, more underground, more alternative, gee whiz. Top of my head, title track of my album called Singapura Uberalis. What a title. Of course, it's another rewrite of Dead Kennedy's California Uberalis, but this is the Singapore version. Yeah. I did that with a musician named One Man Nation. Oh yeah, I've got two songs on the No Ordinary Country album. Minister's Pay Part 1 and 2 that talked about the hiked salary of our state ministers. Yeah. First line of the song is, "Give us more money so we won't be corrupt." I'm such a naughty boy.
Give the robbers cash so they will not rob. Give the cheaters wealth so they will not cheat. Give us more money so we won't be corrupt.
There are many sorts of politics, and we've got to get our politics right.
It's not about the money. Of course it's not.
No, I don't hope anything for this place. But if you ask me what would be the ideal place, would be a place that's lawful, like as it is now, but with people who have heart, who have not lost their heart, like I talked about that Joni Mitchell lyric. I think the most difficult thing for me is that being here, I'm constantly faced with people who have lost their heart without even knowing it. And that's the scariest part. They don't know they've lost their heart. Okay, you beg for it. Okay, I'll tell you. For example, you know, in the business district when it gets busy during the working day, the office workers come out to lunch, and they reserve a seat and they put a pack of tissue there. They have no clue if that is right or wrong. You know, it's baffling to me. They actually wrote in to the national paper asking, is it wrong for us to do that? How baffling is that? You don't know? And if you pin me for an answer, I will tell you, guess what, baby? There's no right and wrong answer to that. It is not wrong of you to put a pack of tissue and say that you're trying to reserve a seat, but if someone else takes it, it's not wrong of the person to take it as well. But that's the thing, you see, it's a lot easier when everything is prescribed and it's just one rule, one way. But that makes people lose heart. They not only lose their heart, they lose what it is to be a human. God forbid. Sorry to say. Yeah, and it is that way. It is that way. It's very sad. So yeah, completely. We forgot to feel. Yeah, better not feel. Better just not even think. Better just follow.
Don't feel, don't think. Just follow. Okay, stop.
Any Singapore dream?
Try and get out of here alive. That would be the best. Jim Morrison, he wrote the book, his biography rather, was called No One Gets Out of Here Alive. Blame the Doors, blame Jim Morrison. The dream would be to get out of here alive. The world is a very big place.
We are always halfway there. There's a future, no one knows where. Singapore, you are not my country. Singapore, you are not a country at all. You are surprising Singapore. Statistic-starved Singapore. Soulful Singapore of tourist brochures and Japanese and hourglass cabayas. Singapore, what are these lawsuits in my mailbox? There are so many sheaves. I should have tipped the postman. Do not invite me to the podium and tell me to address you properly. I'm allergic to microphones and men in ego suits and pubic wigs, and I am not a political martyr. I'm a patriot who has lost his country and virginity.
The reality is that there's a lot of restraint on civil society and not a lot of restraint on power.
Let us stand together in our pursuit of rule of law.
That one is what?
Again?
Treblinka.
Ah, yes.
What kind of music?
Metal is most close to him. Like he have favorite band like Dark Throne. He like all those. I call him the jungle band, hutan band in Malay. You know, all those weird style. You know. She's been like my customer, let's just say, being here most of the time. And like I say, whenever he go where, maybe he think about me. He always bring something back for me. You know, and something he cannot fit him, he will just come to me because.
That's not true.
Yeah. Some of the stuff was given to me by him. You know, go around. Mix around with people, you don't mind to mix around with people. I mean, regardless of who you are.
Blind and teeth, you could barely breathe. They'll unlock you, but you won't choke. 'Cause they know how to hold, how to grip, how much to squeeze. So you still live, but barely breathe. Hardly breathe. You try to breathe, to make ends meet. Blind and teeth, you could barely breathe. They'll unlock you, but you won't choke. 'Cause they know how to hold, how to grip, how much to squeeze. So you still live, but barely breathe. Hardly breathe.
But a dream goes on forever. I'm left standing here, I've got nothing to say. All is silent within my dream. 1,000 true loves will live and die, but a dream lives on forever. The days and the years will go streaking by, but the time has stopped in my dream.
What really, strikes me about Chris is the humility. If you have to tell people who you are, you ain't. And Chris never told me who he was. Never. But everybody knows who this guy is.
He said to me, do stuff that you want to do. Don't worry about what people think. And he's, of course, the epitome of that, right? Don't worry about that. And I don't know, I guess I'm going to definitely hold that in my heart and go, I'm brave enough to be like Chris Ho.
Standing out, standing apart, being different. But that's what made him so special.
I think he really loved Singapore to the sense that he wished it was better.
If he was a cynic or if he was entirely blasé, then why bother?
He was always truthful. Chris ultimately was someone who wanted to speak the truth. And I think that's why so many people were attracted to him.
I think there was something tender about Chris. He was a very gentle person.
I wish that, I'd been able to hold his hand, hug him, tell him face to face how much he meant to us.
Till you join me within my dream. Dream goes on forever.
Because my maternal grandfather, who was in Guangzhou, was a famous Cantonese opera lead actor. So when I was a kid, barely 6 years old, my grandmother would take me to all the Chinese operas in Singapore. And they run for like 3 hours each time, 2 hours each time, non-stop. So yeah, I grew up on all that and with a good appetite for Chinese films, kung fu films as well. Oh, Gong Li is, I tell you, it makes me very angry when you talk about Gong Li because I feel she's so underappreciated, even though she's a huge A-list star. I think people don't recognize what a rare gem that is. I think they recognize that she has talent, but at the end of the day, how many Betty Davis or Elizabeth Taylor can you have? To me, Gong Li is a screen goddess. She is like Betty Davis combined with Elizabeth Taylor's beauty and talent at the same time. She's such a screen goddess to me. The last time I saw her on the big screen, the minute she came on the big screen, I was in tears already. I'm so much of a fan. So much, Yeah. To me, the definitive Gong Li film, and that is, what's that one called? Curse of the Golden Flower. To me, that role of hers defines her persona completely. And her persona is, if you ask me, I know I can't win fighting you, but I will fight you till I die. And that is the Gong Li spirit that I love. Yeah, that's why I love that film. And Jay Chou is there. And yeah, anyway, let's not say anything about Jay Chou. I remember when I was watching in the cinema, every time he came on, the audience broke into a laughter. And I remember my friend saying to me, it was just a marketing ploy to have Jay there, because he would draw the box office crowd. And it doesn't matter because Gong Li will be there to, to deflect from all that, you know? Yeah, anyway. And I only finally watched I Knew for the first time the other day.
Which one?
I Knew, the famous
Oh, I Knew, oh, the lesbian, right?
Yeah.
The by Chu Yuan, right?
Yeah, Lily Ho and Bei Ti. First time I watched that. But for me, it will always be disappointing.
But censored, right?
Of course. But
Yeah.
you know why? And I only watched it for the first time. You know why it will always be disappointing? Because I always prefer the sequel. Even
I
though
didn't know there's a sequel.
the sequel is in Cantonese. You must watch the sequel with On, you know.
Yeah, no.
Also remade by Chu Yuan himself.
Huh.
The sequel, I watched it so many times. It's wonderful. You know why? It's super campy. The dialogue is very campy. And
You cannot talk to me.
and the
Can't
scene,
finish
wait,
it.
let me finish. And the scenes are far more erotic.
Huh.
Far more erotic. You must watch the Cantonese
Okay.
one. I love Jia Zhangke. Understandably, you can well imagine. He's all about the working class. I'm very proletariat in that sense. I'm not about the elite society. I'm a punk rocker. Rock and roll as a counterculture was already on to me. I was already on to that. I subscribed to that in a big way. Rock and roll is a form of counterculture as an alternative to whatever is accepted and mainstream. It's a way out, basically, a better way out, as it were, you know. Much as we like to believe that we can make a difference, one man is not going to make that much of a difference unless there's a certain divine intervention. You know, he becomes a martyr or a saint or an outstanding Pulitzer Prize winning poet or something, you know. Yeah, I mean, yes and no, but please don't look to me. I'm just a little individual rock fan, that's all I am. Music fan I am. I'm a true music fan, so don't look to me.